all here to celebrate Merle McCurdy. So I have a few slides I want to go through here. In Conneaut, spent his first 20 years in the Conneaut area. On the right is a picture of Merle and Foster at the Dean Avenue School in Conneaut. Here's Foster over here, and Merle's over here.
Which one's Foster?
When we talk about the middle years here, we have Merle and Foster with his mother and father, Evelyn and Roy, and a picture on the right, him at age 13 in the Conneaut school system. Face today. Merle was a true civil rights legend. Here we have a picture with him speaking at the NAACP convention in Atlanta, of all places. Back in 1962, and he's with Mr. Abernathy on our left, and obviously Martin Luther King. I kept on coming up to this guy named Howard McCurdy. Okay, I've kept on constantly coming up. He is the second African American to be elected. African Canadian, excuse me, to be elected as a member of Parliament in Canada.
Woo!
I'm going to say this, I'm going to embarrass him. He's brilliant. He's a doctor. He's the first African Canadian, to receive tenure at a Canadian university and also to be a department chair. We have the pleasure of having someone who has been awarded the Order of Ontario and the Order of Canada. So if you think about in the U.S., if someone was awarded the Medal of Freedom, we have someone here that's won the equivalent of that here in Canada. And guess what? He's with us here tonight. And without further ado, I want to introduce everyone to Howard.
I don't know how I'm going to match the fantastic presentation that we just heard. There are some aspects of African American history that were left out, but we will all leave those out today. I apologize for not being from Ashtabula. I am a proud Canadian. And I have to tell you that the McCurdys that you see here today, the descendants of the McCurdys that you see here today are descendants of the Canadian McCurdys, as we like to describe them. But we all come from Nasa McCurdy, who was a slave born in about 1763, who was manumitted in 1797 by one Rachel Kennedy.
I'd now like to call upon Brenda McCurdy Rhodes. Brenda is Merle's daughter, and she's going to read for us a speech that Merle wrote back in the 1960s, and I'll have her explain it, but all the way from Atlanta, Georgia, Brenda McCurdy Rhodes.
1962, okay, at 8:00 p.m., I don't know where I was at that time, okay, at a public meeting of the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People at its national convention at Atlanta, Georgia. I'm just really honored to repeat the words that he said. Freedom is a precious commodity. It is precious because so few people possess it. It's never been handed voluntarily to anyone. Every individual, every nation, every race has fought for his or her freedom and its individual freedom since the beginning of time. And by the grace of God, and I might add our Justice Department, this right will soon be universal. The struggle for this right to vote has been long, difficult, and sometimes violent. And any American who fails to exercise this prerogative commits a crime, not only against himself, but also against his fellow man. Every single vote is important because politics control everything in our lives. It is a fundamental truth that the requests of powerless people usually fall on deaf ears. It is those who wield influence that receive the fruits of politics. We have our roots here and have a tremendous stake in America. So we have good reason to be proud instead of humble, aggressive instead of subservient, courageous instead of docile. The future of the Negro is not imminent or impending, it is now. From what we do now sets the course for the future. I implore you to keep your head high, keep your guard up. Take pride in the fact that we have accomplished more in 99 years than in any other people in the history of mankind. Thank you.
I'm going to talk about Merle McCurdy because I knew Merle McCurdy. I touched Merle McCurdy. He appeared before me. Handsome. What a presence he had. But I'm not going to use a lot of superlatives. I'm going to talk about Merle and what he accomplished, and then the Bill of Rights, and then our Star-Spangled Banner, and then when we pledge allegiance to flame, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now, what Merle McCurdy is all about is he gave definition to those words. Definition to those words wasn't until 1960 in the civil rights legislation, which Merle McCurdy, with his marauders and his vanguard, took an active role. And all of a sudden, because of the efforts of Merle McCurdy, we introduced those words of 1776, the Declaration. 1787, the Constitution. 1791, the Bill of Rights. It was through the Civil Rights Act of the 60s and Merle McCurdy taking the lead with his other U.S. attorneys in the country and Department of Justice that we introduced those documents, those testaments of freedom to the workplace of the United States, the schoolhouses of the United States, the buses of the United States, the hotels of the United States. You know, and Merle McCurdy was there. You can't imagine what this man from Ashtabula County, what his contributions were in bringing about the reality rather than just the rhetoric of the Constitution of the United States.
I bring you this proclamation from the Ohio House, the 99th District, which Conneaut is a part of, one of the many parts, but I want to thank you for coming home. In many ways, I feel Ashtabula County, and Jefferson in particular, was the birthplace of the Civil Rights Movement.
And we could not be more proud as representatives of this community to have all of you as part of our history and our fabric. The story of the family has inspired us, and I just want to say thank you so very, very much for your commitment to your respective communities. And
we would like to present you with a proclamation from the county. And we're honored that you're here. We're very proud of our county, and we're very proud to have all of your family here. So thank you very, very much. Thank you.
And next, we'll call upon our new county prosecutor, Nick Larocci.
I'd like to call forward our caterer tonight, Phil Garcia, who happens to be a member of Conneaut City Council. And I'd like him to stand next to me as I read this proclamation. This is a proclamation from the Office of the City Manager. Whereas in commemoration of Law Day, the Ashtabula County Bar Association is honoring one of its own, civil rights legend Merle M. McCurdy, a Conneaut native. That's signed by Timothy Eggleston, Conneaut City Manager.
You're here tonight. But Judge Mackey, would you be so kind to make this presentation?
All right.
I think we have learned tonight our common humanity, and we are not Canadians from the United States or from Ohio, but we share values and virtues, and I'm very, very pleased to present the photos to Brenda and Howard.
It is amazing.
So I want to thank all of you for coming and being a part.